Hey everybody, this is Keith from the lightest side of true crime, and I am chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Keith. What's up, man?
Hey brother, how you doing?
I'm great. How you doing?
Good, real good. Going to be better.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time to come on my show. I appreciate it.
Sure, no worries. No, look forward to it.
Yeah, you have an interesting podcast, and I was like, damn, some of the people you get on, I'm like, I need to know about how all this transpired and, you know, dig into the topic a little bit. Because people are fascinated with killers and serial killers and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Especially now in our culture, I mean, you can't turn the TV on without watching something true crime or a documentary or a show. There's whole apps now, nothing but true crime on TV. That's everywhere. You know, you can't escape it even if you wanted to. And I started, I mean, years ago, with the lighter side of true crime podcast, probably about 25 years ago. I've always been involved in prison outreach or rehabilitation, especially local in the South Jersey, Philadelphia area. A lot of crime. You know, Camden, New Jersey, Philadelphia, New Jersey. And I found a couple organizations that actually participated by going into prisons, writing to prisons, helping people read and write. So I was always fascinated. And so I helped out that for a while until I found some local ones. And that was like around the country until I found a local one here where I can go into prisons. And long story short, I realized the guys who turned their lives around quickest wasn't the fear of punishment the prisons do. It was the organizations like I was helped being a part of that showed these guys kindness, or I call like grace, unmerited favor. So like they didn't deserve it, but that's what was helping, giving them housing, food, clothing, helping them get jobs, showing that you actually care. Because most of these guys, mostly with drugs, they had no father figure. So I realized through this kindness, it was what turning their lives around. It's like, man, what was this work with like killers, like stone cold killers? So I started writing out. I think the first person that I wrote to that wrote back was Charles Tex Watson of the Manson family. I reached out because supposedly he turned his life around, became a Christian, some kind of chaplain and all that. It's like, all right, let me reach out to him and find out what was it for him. And he said the same thing. People showing kindness, this that led to faith. So let me reach out to David Berkowitz, the son of Sam, because same thing. Apparently, he turned his life around. And for those two, while some say they do, you know, a lot of it's just a show for the parole board.
Like Sammy Gravano.
Oh, yeah. That's whole different stories. Yeah. But I truly believe, I mean, there's many who do, but Berkowitz and Watson truly believe turn their lives around. And the more I started writing people, I realized, one, how messed up our prison system is, which is a place of torture and just punishment. And some people say rightfully so. You know, some people do heinous things, and I can't really argue against that. But some of these men and women are getting out of prison, you know. And who do you want to be your neighbor? Somebody who's rehabilitated, who now knows like love, kindness, and compassion, or they went in for robbing or went in for stealing a car, or maybe some burglary, something small, and they leave a psychopath because of what happens to
criminal. Yeah, they're seething because of it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I pattern my show similar to like the Norway prison system, where it's a reward-based system. You do good for a while. Hey, you'll get more ice cream. You'll get more dessert. You'll get more phone time. You get more visitation time. They have the lowest recidivism or return to reprison rate in the world for violent offenders since they started this program. Now it's like 12 to 17% chance they're going to reoffend, where American prison systems are like 70% chance for violent offenders they're going to reoffend within a couple years of getting out. So I started having people on the show call the podcast, and obviously serial killers and other people too, but primarily serial killers, to say, hey, what has worked in your life? We're talking about psychopathy, but there's no cure. I do find out, and studies have shown that reward controls them. Oh, I'll behave if I can get this. But if you're a psychopath, you're not deterred by fear. So all these things we're learning after time. But so I had them come on the show to talk about it. Now, some talk about the crime, but most talk about their life in prison, childhood life, who they really are, not what a documentary, you know, tells us who they think they are, like the big bad boogeyman, which they've done some big bad boogeyman things, but who are you as a person? You know, what gets through to somebody who's a complete psychopath, who has no fear, no empathy, doesn't have the ability to stop themselves if they have the urge for violence? What works in your life? You know, because even the greatest neurologists in the world don't really know for sure, but we're having baby steps on this, something to this reward-based thing that has been catching wind a little bit. So I'm kind of exploring that, and I really just get to know these guys and women on a personal level, mostly to see what works. That's what's called the lighter side of true crime, kind of get to know kind of how their brain ticks, when most of the time you can't be a psychologist and they'll reach out to them, a movie producer. They don't talk to those guys. They don't want to be picked apart. But after getting trusted from me and people like me for years and years, they open up to me. And so I have them on the show to, because maybe they can help other people, who are having similar urges, like Wayne Adam Ford. They call him the serial killer with compassion. He chopped up numerous women, actually turned himself in because he realized he couldn't stop. If you're not familiar with his name, or your listeners aren't, he was the guy who, when he turned himself in with his brother, and he's been on the show a few times, they didn't believe it was him. So he pulled out of his pocket a woman's breast in a plastic bag and said, "Here you go. All right, it's him. I got you." Well, he comes on to talk about his mental health, from autism, Asperger's, psychopathy. And because I have people who have the same urges, message me privately. So I'll put Wayne and them in contact, because doctors can't help. People have these urges too. One girl.
People that are free? People that are free?
People that are free. For example, there's a few people, one specifically in Italy, a young girl, barely driver and just got her driver's license. She wants to have a child so she can eat it. All right. So this is the level of some people that I talk to. Well, what can I say to you? I can encourage you a little bit, but I can't relate. And most doctors and psychologists can't relate to that. She has the inability to feel joy. Can't feel joy. On top of that, she got an STD the first time she had sex at 17 years old. She has herpes now. So that psychopathy mixed up with everything else. What can I say? I put her in touch with Wayne. Now, she's actually helping her, because he can say things to her and can relate in ways that not many people in this world, whoever existed, can. So again, they're trying to make a difference. They know what they've done is horrible. Even those who can't stop themselves, at least some of them want to try to make a difference. So I'm probably giving them my platform, to say, hey, you can make a difference in people's lives if you just be honest and truthful about, hey, this is what I was thinking. These are the urges that I had. This is what has helped me. So I'll bring guys like Wayne and numerous people like Wayne on the show for positive change. And some just talk about the crimes. There's a couple like the happy face killer, Keith Jesperson. He's just a narcissistic psychopath to where he enjoys and revels in everything. He just wants to talk about the crimes, the murders and all that. Okay, I can talk about that too. It is true crime. But for the most part, it's the lighter side. So we're kind of trying to do some positive things in a true crime community.
How many of these people are actually getting out of prison that have killed multiple people?
It depends what state it's in. And there's people who have, you can kill one person and do life without parole in some states. Others, you can kill 3 and do 25, 30 years. It all depends. It really all depends on the state.
And like Connecticut, you'll get 60 years for one capital felony murder. Yeah,
I know William Howe. He's in Cheshire. Yep. He's been on the show. Actually, if you can see right behind me, that's his Halloween costume. Kind of really? Snuck out. Yeah, there's an axe in the town.
That was in the town next to me. He was killing girls, putting them near the McDonald's. He was driving through.
Yeah.
And the cops went there. I've been to that site.
Okay, yeah.
The police found more bones there after they did the search and everything.
Yeah,
I remember when he got caught like it was yesterday. It was like a media circus here.
Mm-hmm. He was on a podcast talking about it. It's funny, I probably talk to him every couple. Although I haven't talked to him this week. Probably every couple of days I'll talk to him, because most prisons have tablets now.
If I ever busted out of here, that they could catch me at the local Arby's trying to trade ramen soups for beef and cheddar. I often joke about that. If I ever got out of here, all they have to do is take out the local Arby's, and I'd be in there trying to trade ramen soups for beef and cheddar. So,
there you go. It's perfect timing.
And I know that if I did bust out, they would be telling lies about me. They'd be saying serial killer escapes in Connecticut and is on the run. That would be a flat-out lie.
Yeah.
I'd be on the slow walk somewhere. Yeah. I would not be on the run.
Exactly.
I would be on the slow walk.
Right to the Arby's and to the Pizza Hut. He's going for more victims. Right. He's not going for more victims. He's going for the Pizza Hut. Trust me. That's exactly where he's going.
Apprehended at local Arby's trying to trade ramen soups for beef and cheddar.
I guess you can get a hooker. He had a big van, for like $20. I got a BJ for like $20. He's like, oh, for $20. It was like candy. I was getting them all the time. He's a total sex addict. And well, one time, a girl, they were doing a thing where a girl stole his money out of his pants or wherever it was, but that was his rent money or a mortgage money. I think it was his rent money, like hundreds of dollars stole. That's all he had. He got a lot of trouble for not having the rent, and he just snapped. That was the catalyst. That is what snapped. He's like, you know what? I might not get you, but I want to get everybody like you. And that's what started off the rampage, was a triggering moment where one of them stole his money for rent and he just lost it. He just snapped. And one of them was a guy. As she was doing it, he pulled off the wig and it was a dude. It did not end well for that guy or girl, however you want to, identify at. It did not end well.
McDonald's, right? You would buy them McDonald's in the drive-thru. Yeah.
And then right behind there, obviously, where he put the bodies. And he wanted to come on the show because he never had I talked to, I don't know, 50 or so serial killers, in the course of a week. Most of them don't come on the podcast. I just, get to know them on a personal level, try to get to know them. But he wanted to come on for a few reasons, mainly because there was a book written about him. I think it was called His Garden. That's what this writer said that he called the dump site and the murder mobile. He didn't say any of that. She just made this up. When you first read the first couple of pages of this lady's book, I forget her name. It doesn't really matter. She was like, yeah, I had to make some of this stuff up to make the story good. So she made like Bill and another guy in the prison having a conversation. He's like, I never had a conversation with this guy. So the whole thing was like fabricated up. Now the murders happened. He talked in detail about what happened, but he wanted to come on and set the record straight of why he did it. And he didn't say that's not my garden. I forget the name. What he called the murder mobile or something like that for his van. I never said any of that stuff. So, and some people do. They want to come on just to set the record straight of what really happened. And some come on to say they're completely innocent. Okay, but I give you my platform. I'm not an investigative journalist. This is your platform. Say whatever you want just to get your side out there. So, but anyway, for Bill, that's kind of what started for him. One of the prostitutes stole his money.
Hey, welcome to the lighter side of true crime with Kai the Hatchet Wielding Hitchhiker and Keith Rovere. Smash, smash, smash.